All right, we are live, I think. Cool. All right. We're here with Dr. Mystical or Doc or Doctor. Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, Tio. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So we're discussing me trying to figure out StreamYard. We had technical difficulties coming in there.
We got it going on. We got it figured out.
Got it going on. Hello, everybody in chat. We got Larry, Brianna, Mary, Soul Tribe, Lanstow. How is it going, everyone?
Hey, everybody.
All right.
Lively chat.
Lively chat. Yeah, it's usually lively. Chat is very lively on this channel for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So thank you very much for joining me.
Of course. Thanks for asking me. Yeah, thanks for asking me.
So you are the master of social media. You're on Facebook. you have the web page. You're everywhere. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into YouTube and your history there?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I mean, years ago, let me bounce out that headphone so I can hear like I'm a human being. So years ago, I started with doing tarot work on Facebook because that was where things were. And YouTube, I guess YouTube was a little intimidating for me at first to be out on kind of the open web, and I wanted to kind of be on Facebook, and that's where I started, and it's where I've been for a very long time. Like I think I'm in my 4th or 5th year of doing tarot on Facebook, and then Facebook is fine, but it's not as content creator friendly maybe as YouTube is. And I was looking for a breakout onto YouTube and bouncing over. So what I was doing is downloading what I was doing in Facebook and putting it up over in YouTube and trying just to make sure that people had access to the content on YouTube, but it just never really took off the way I wanted it to. And then part of doing the work, right, is to own your brand everywhere you go. So I own Dr. Mystical, the brand, on every platform. YouTube is where I kind of started going live in YouTube, thanks to StreamYard actually. And I dabbled with it a couple of times, but StreamYard like hot and heavy in December of 2019, and it's grown considerably. So folks have been pretty great on YouTube, and it's a different platform, right? So the communities and how things work are different on Facebook than they are on YouTube. So having to merge those communities can sometimes be challenging, but that's the deal. And then I use Instagram to kind of bump or bolster the work that's doing the live shows and the videos that I do.
Well, cool. So I'm looking back at your first video.
God, please don't do that.
we all got to start. We all got to start somewhere. Yeah. So that's an interesting track. I mean, my first video was with a phone, and that's sort of where I think most people start out with YouTube with is just your phone and some sunlight and a prayer. You know,
that's it. It's just record something and get something up. That's the deal.
So where have you learned about just either streaming or making videos from that first video to now? How does the path gone?
Have a more comfortable chair. So in the beginning it was, I mean, I was doing 3-card readings on a list, which I still manage a list. And I was streaming from my, from my laptop. Actually my day job laptop, but don't tell them. And so I don't work there anymore anyway, but my day job laptop, I'd prop it up on a box so it wasn't looking up my nose. And what I learned over the years was absolutely to improve the stream by getting better lighting and playing and working with lights and what that looks like and how does that feel, getting, where to position things, how to not have so much sunlight behind me that it washes me out. So lighting was a big kind of my first step. The truth be told, the microphone I still use, this one right here, is the microphone I've been using since 2002. And I've tried other mics and I like this one best. And so the sound is good, but making sure that people can hear you, even though I'm pretty hoarse today, because I was live yesterday. The other thing I used to do was what we call on my channel, no reading left behind, where we just read until everybody's done. And it was like a 4.5 hour stream.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. It's a drag. Super fun. But it got to be a little tedious, even at every other week. And then over time, I realized that I could shorten the streams down to about an hour, and I could go every week. And that was much more sustainable for me than doing it every other week and dreading it, because I knew I was going to have like a 4-hour night and doing all the readings. And I also cut the readings down. So you do bigger readings, but I do 1-card readings for everybody on my list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I apologize for my voice, because like I said, I'm a little hoarse from having talked all day yesterday.
Oh, that's no problem at all, man. I understand. Yeah, I'm the same way. I work from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then I come home and I do the stream for an hour. So
sure.
yeah,
I noticed that. I wondered what, like, it must just be your unwind time.
Yeah, it's just the having fun time, I guess.
Yeah,
all
for
right.
Sure.
So let's crank into the Saturday collab here. So we got me and Dr. Mystical Tarot. Link to his site is in the description. And he's also on Facebook, and he has his own webpage as well. So, So Tarot on YouTube, we're here to sort of try to get everyone started on Tarot on YouTube. So sort of an outline for this is get a quick overview of just sort of, what we're doing, and then talk about equipment, which would be cameras, microphone, lights, and then techniques. Sure. So pick a card, live sessions, deck introductions, deck reviews, and then common mistakes that people make. And also the most important one, making money, right? Once you get enough subs, start making a little cash. And then how to get out there and advertise yourself as well. Do you have any additional ones that you'd like to talk about?
No, I think that's really good. I mean, a part of it, probably if there's something you wanted to add to it, might just be the confidence of doing. And you talked about that, kind of being afraid of making mistakes, but being confident about getting out there, and regardless of whether you're losing your voice or not. So.
Yeah, everyone's quoting on my quotes from my stream about big spreads. Yeah, I don't do 1-card reads. I do big spreads.
That's great. Like, I think I admire that. I mean, like I said, I used to do 3-card readings for everybody, and then the list was getting unmanageable. But there's changes. Like, I think channels evolve over time, like your technique, your practice. I mean, I remember when I switched from every other week is no card left behind, no reading left behind, to a 1 hour once a week show. My community had a little bit of consternation about that, but eventually they adapted to it and started to understand why I was doing it the way I was doing it. And then it took on a life of its own. And every change I've made, they've come along with me, as long as I don't make a million changes all at one time. So.
Yep. Okay. So let's talk about YouTube popularity. What is the difference that you've seen between Facebook and YouTube as far as the number of people, how many people join and things like that?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, my Facebook, and so because that's where I started, that's where most of my community is, and they remain over there. I've tried to drag them over kicking and screaming to YouTube, and that's okay. Some of them have come, some of them haven't. They have the folks that watch me every week have a community. They have interactions. They have their own kind of sideshow of things that are going on. And I think that for me, the kind of difference is in terms of being a creator, YouTube makes it a lot easier to create content, manage your analytics. And if you need to be monetizing, to monetize the channel so that you can put all that money back into the show and keep growing the community and keep growing the show. And so YouTube for me is kind of that place that I can keep doing that. I have a fair amount of following on Facebook though, and so that'll never go away. And I don't want it to. I like what it is, and I like where it is. The technologies are a little different, but
yeah, and that's what I've noticed too, that YouTube is pretty popular now for tarot. So I started about 10 years ago, and back then YouTube, well, I mean, it was sort of iffy as if people would even watch you or not. And I don't think we even had monetization back then. So it was sort of just a volunteer thing. You just go and throw your videos out there and hope for the best.
That's right.
And so a lot of big name people weren't around. And so the big names were people that just did fun stuff, and it was just entertaining,
That's right.
But it's really sort of grown obviously in 10 years, master the obvious, but YouTube's obviously grown into insane market at this point.
Just epic. And I think they do a lot for, if you're a new tarot reader or any tarot reader, I think YouTube does a lot more for to teach you about being a content creator and getting videos up there and what does that look like. And they really are, I mean, while they certainly have a lot of support for bigger channels and whole big production suites and people who've got invested, tens of thousands of dollars into their production. For small creators like me, YouTube does a tremendous amount, and there's a tremendous community of content creators that help you understand what it is. And I think that's Facebook doesn't have the same, like I said, Facebook not as creator friendly as YouTube. And anybody that ever asked me what should I do, I always say, just go to YouTube. Just, be on Facebook if you want, but focus your energies on YouTube.
Yeah, and it's a great place to start. I mean, tarot has really sort of grown as well. The tarot community has grown. And the good part about the YouTube tarot community is they're just so nice. I mean, you go to someone else's stream and they always greet you. They're happy to see you.
Yeah.
It's just, the community is just so welcome here. And if a new person coming in is going to be kind of intimidating, because I used to do YouTube other channels, like I had a channel where I reviewed magic tricks. So a new magic trick would come out and I would review it. And then I had a following, but you have, other creators that do the same thing and they weren't very welcoming at all. Some of them, so.
But tarot, I was surprised at this, T.O. I mean, tarot, like when I started doing much more live right back in December on YouTube and started focusing my energies on that, I was really surprised by the I don't know if that's just the case on Facebook. I mean, people have been pretty friendly, but the amount of collabs and how the community gets built and the welcoming atmosphere is just, I didn't have an expectation. So I guess everything would have been a surprise, but it was really welcoming and I was hoping for that. So I'm really thrilled that was the case. So.
Yeah, Veronica's talking about the smaller channels are my favorite and they're new ones to find all the time.
Yep.
And I think that goes for every platform, because I watch Twitch for video gaming.
Sure.
And Twitch, the smaller channels are very, very welcoming. They'll greet you, they'll talk to you. And some of the larger channels just have so much traffic that you're just a fly in the ointment.
Yeah, you're just a voice in an arena.
Yeah. So another thing that I like is the viewer base is flexible. So if I go to, let's see, V Love and Crystal's stream, or if I go to your stream or something like that, I'm going to see a bit of overlap between, people that are there and people that are here and things like that. So it's not like people just have they're not devoted to one person. They never watch anyone else. Everyone's very flexible. They move around and you'll see the same people and you'll be like, hey, I remember you from this stream. How are you doing? And it's just a tight community.
Yeah, it is. And I think that even from a creator standpoint, it's flexible because, we see each other on everybody else's streams. And then, it is that kind of sense of a rising tide floats all boats, right? I mean, it's what's happening with content creators and tarot creators on YouTube is that we're creating this larger community that's building the art in the storytelling of tarot. And I think that's really great, and bringing more people into this and seeing the kind of amazing things that creators do deck creators do, and sharing that. And, I get so much out of watching your channel and like V Love and Crystals and all these other channels to see, new decks that I might want, or how people interpret a particular deck if I'm struggling with that. And you can see, I don't have nearly the collection anybody else has, but that's my collection over there. So.
Oh yeah. That's about the size of my collection too. I'm actually, I trim mine down a lot. So yeah. Okay. So the ease of getting started is there as well. And I say that because if you have a cell phone and a light source and some internet, you can start a YouTube channel,
That's it right there. All of your YouTube channel is in your palm of your hand, and that's where to begin.
Yeah. And the best part about that is, even now I use my cell phone for probably 90% of my content because it's just so easy. It's if you don't need to edit, you don't need an intro, you just want to throw something out there, you can get done in just a few minutes.
That's right. And then over time you'll start just like buying tarot decks, right, T.O.? You're like, oh, you know what? I could get I could buy that thing, and I could buy that thing too, and that might make it more interesting. And then if I buy that, and so sooner or later, right, my content creation stuff starts to grow and grow and grow. Now, I mean, it's fun, but all you need to get started is a cell phone.
Yeah, yeah. And Spirit of Atlanta says, I've been studying tarot more than 7 years privately. And that's one of the things I think once you get really, really comfortable, once you sort of hit a plateau with tarot, and you're sort of ready to just sort of throw yourself out into the public and say, okay, you know, here's my unique way of doing things. Here's how I like to do it, and just see if anybody relates to it. That's
right. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I mean, like anything else, like doing a fair or doing an event where there's multiple readers, your style is yours, and how you read a card or how you read a person is going to vary from person to person. You just need to have the confidence that what you're doing is going to resonate with somebody or some people, and they're going to follow you, and they're going to like what you have to say. And if they don't, they're going to find somebody else. There's enough of us doing the work that they'll find the messaging and the help that they want on somebody's channel.
Yep. And so as far as camera goes, obviously we talked about a phone. So you're using a webcam right now, right?
Yeah, I use a Logitech C930 cam, and then I'm actually going to switch over. I have a card cam and it's a Logitech C920. And I'm all Logitech'd up. But yeah, I mean, you can use webcams if you can invest a couple of bucks and get yourself a nice webcam. It does make a difference. Like the cell phone's great, but a webcam makes a difference.
Yeah. And so the upgrade levels for the camera are sort of, okay, let's start with the phone.
Right.
And then once we start earning money, once we want to invest something in the channel,
save your pennies, get the couch cushions, dig out your quarters.
Exactly. And that sort of goes with making money too.
Yeah.
So once you start making money on YouTube, once you get enough people, it's good to reinvest that.
Always. Yeah. I mean, otherwise you're not giving back to the community that you're trying to build.
Yeah. Cause you'll see that on Twitch. You'll see people with hundreds of followers, and they're still grainy video.
Yeah.
They have bad audio. And at some point people just get fed up, and they're just not going to watch anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I saw there was a comment up the stream a little ways. Empowered One says, you can't go live on YouTube from your cell phone. I think if you look for YouTube Studio as an app, Empowered One, I think check out YouTube Studio as an app. They continually evolve that, and that will be the way that you can go live on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. And Brianna talks about some people show their face, some people do the hands. I know you do a 50-50 mix.
I do. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I noticed you don't. Like, I think you just put a picture of yourself up, and your community kind of went crazy around like seeing a picture of you, which I thought that was fun.
I just concentrate on the cards. I think a long time ago, I just made a decision that I want the cards to be the focus.
The cards to be the focus.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the reason that I have the faces on my channel, and I don't care, but I started off with just a laptop and a camera, or maybe even just my phone propped up. And so I was holding cards, right? I was holding cards up in front of me, and that was why. So I didn't have two cameras, and I didn't want to have, I wanted to be able to kind of see what I was doing. Mm-hmm. And that's why. And then it wasn't until recently that I switched over to the multicam. I struggled with OBS and Restream It and StreamYards or not StreamYards, but Streamlabs. Because the lag time was so incredible that I couldn't be successful that way. So that's why. Plus, I do have a pretty swank mustache, and so
yeah, there you go. Exactly. That's sort of your that's your brand almost. Yeah.
Sort of my brand. That's exactly right. That's right.
Yeah. So the last upgrade to camera is the DSLR. That's sort of where I'm at. Unfortunately, my DSLR is like from the dollar store. I mean, it's like really old. So.
But is that what you're shooting for? But you're shooting 4K video as well with that, right?
No. I shoot 4K video from my phone.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's why you never see like a really good 4K video. Everybody's like, can you add music to your 4K video? I'm like, well, I don't think I have a computer that can edit the 4K video, and it's going to take forever, and I do it on my phone. So that's why, if you wondered why I'm flipping cards in silence on these 4K flip throughs, It's because I'm just using my phone, you know?
That's right. And I think that's great. I mean, I have a lot of comments of people that don't like the talking over the cards. They just want to see, like, they want to see both, but they like to have those moments of allowing them to focus on the cards. And so I do that and put a YouTube audio track underneath it just to add a little bit of meditation for the cards.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, that's my level, is the DSLR. So I had an old DSLR from like 6 years ago, and there's a thing called a cam link, and you can make the DSLR HDMI, convert it into USB, and the cam link will do all the conversion, and then you can have it. Unfortunately, there's a delay, like you're talking about. There's even more of a delay with that. But if you're only showing your hands, it doesn't really matter because the cards aren't moving anywhere. So
yeah, it won't be like a old Godzilla movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it may look like that if I did. But okay, so I think that's pretty much the end state, is the DSLR, to where you have.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's what I've set for myself as kind of a goal, maybe getting to that point. But for right now, webcam is, I've been using a webcam forever, and the only thing that gets better is the optics. So every once in a while I might upgrade my webcam, but it really is about optics.
Yeah, and that fancy dress brings up an interesting point. Once you start showing your face, pretty much everybody that you work with knows what you do now. So there's that, you know. Yeah. So now you're like wondering, well, does that affect your work? And that's sort of an interesting thing as well. So
yeah, so over the years, and I've been doing this for a lot of years, I don't need anybody to have any other reasons to not listen to me during the day. Thus Dr. Mystical, right? So I don't fly my own flag. It's my brand, and that's what I go for. If people happen to find me, it's because they're looking for tarot. Mm-hmm. And if they happen to notice that it's me and they work with me, it's because they're looking for tarot. And that means that they're a believer, and that means they're not a skeptic, and or they're just really just searching me out, trying to throw me under the bus. In which case, nothing was going to happen. So I don't worry too terribly much about it. But ultimately, the moniker, the kind of pseudonym, is why I do that, just to keep my day job separate from my day hustle, separate from my side hustle.
Yeah, and people are asking, how do you do a top-down view? You just use a boom arm, and you hook the boom arm onto a light stand. Yeah. So just Google boom arm or watch some boom arm videos, and it'll give you an idea of how to do that. And then you have multiple connections that you can hook up to that. So either way, and you can have a boom arm for a cell phone as well. They also have the bendy arms, the little bendy arms that you can sort of clamp to your table and stretch.
Yeah, hang on. I'll grab you one. I got one. Hang on.
There you
go. So this is my bendy arm, and so the webcam just kind of screws in there. It's got its own little pivot head, and I can get this thing to do just about anything I want it to, and get it to be. I can even set it so that it's off camera. So for when I switch, because I just switched. A couple people from my channel are hanging out. They're going to see that there's a big difference between where my microphone is normally and where my microphone is going to be now. So, because that's the boom arm for my mic is a yesterday addition to the studio. So.
Yeah, and you can get boom arms off of Amazon. There's a bunch of different brands, and some brands come with a camera mount on them. So super simple. You just pop it onto a light stand, and you can get an Amazon basic light stand for like $20.
Yeah, I mean, you can get the whole setup. You can get a lighting kit for pennies on Amazon, and that's a pretty good deal.
Absolutely. So speaking of lighting, good segue, Doctor.
Hey, I'm good at this. Look at me.
So the first one, obvious one, is going to be natural sunlight. And I'm talking to Papa Squirrel when I did Papa Squirrel interview. And I said, what is your setup? And he goes, sunlight. I film during the day, and I try to capture everything I can during the day. And at night, I don't. So that's pretty much the place that you have to start with. But
it is. I started with the dining room light. So if you went back to my first video, I apologize, but because I just did this as I reorganized my channel, I was going back through and reminiscing, and I was like, I said to somebody, I don't even know why anybody even watches my stuff, but it was overhead light in my dining room, and that's what it was. And
Well, let's go back and take a look at it here. Tarot episode.
The beginning. There it is.
There it is. Tarot episode.
Yeah.
So this was your dining room light. So that was sort of.
This is my dining room light. You can see the angle. The laptop is shooting up my nose. But that was the beginning. That was it.
There you go. So the next upgrade is going to be the cheap LEDs, which you can get on Amazon for like $30 with a remote.
Yep. That's right. And that's what I use now. I had photograph studio lights, big umbrella lights for a while. But they're kind of a pain to set up, or even leave up. They take up a lot of room. So now I just use just cheap LED lights. I think I spent like $50 on them, and they work great. They stay plugged in. I don't have to move them around. I don't even put them away. So that, makes my kids feel like they're in a YouTube star when they're doing their homework.
There you go. Let's see. Newer LED light. I'm trying to find. Sorry, I'm like searching around Amazon for stuff.
Sure.
To sort of show it there, but let's see. Is that gonna? Oh no, it's not gonna do it. Norton Safe Search is so annoying. It really is.
Yes.
But you can get a newer ultra dimmable light and all of that. Let me let's see. Hang on just a second. Sorry for the delay here. I am sort of figuring this out as I go. All right, but you can get a light on Amazon. It's called a newer light. Let me throw it over here. So let me know when you can see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So so this is just a cheap LED light, and this company Newer will make a light kit to where you can actually get a couple of these lights and with a light stand for, fairly cheap.
Yep. Yeah. I think I spent, like I said, $50 or $60 on mine. But it was two lights. They're battery operated, and I live in hurricane country, so not that we lose power that often, but at least now I got a couple extra lights for a little bit longer.
Exactly. And I know the softbox kits are a bit expensive, so I ended up using umbrellas.
Yep.
You can get a cheap umbrella for like $6. You can get an umbrella.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just have a cheap light. So you can get these lights, and they come with a remote, which I think is important.
Yep. So I think so too. So you're not always leaning to adjust things. You can kind of just use the remote to make yourself happier. Yep.
Yeah, the remote is really nice. And a lot of them have a temperature adjustment, so you can add warmth or remove warmth. And everyone watching, by the way, a big important thing if you're going to do green screen is to remove all the warmth that you can and just to go daylight, solid daylight. And that's going to make your green screen experience a lot less painful.
Yeah, and make sure your green screen is lit. So the part of it is that when you're doing green screen work, you got to have your green screen lit as well as you. So you got to make sure that you're adding another layer of dimension into the green screening. Or into the lighting, because you're using a green screen, and backgrounds are hard. And this is my background, so that made my life easier too. There's a lot of videos where even recent ones where my background is super close to my back, and so that it didn't fade off into the background. And I try not to absorb my entire living quarters in a show, but the reality is this works and it's easy.
Yeah. And the best advice I have for if you're going to buy these cheap lights, the LED lights, is to get a power supply when you buy it, because the batteries that come with it, they don't last long and they're painful, and you have to buy a bunch of them, and they're expensive, but you can buy a power supply for like $15 more.
That's and believe me, that's worth it. When your lights go out in the middle of a tarot show, you're going to wish you had those. I guarantee it.
Yeah. So Brianna asked a good question for you and me. How much do you spend monthly or annually to create your content?
Oh, I don't know, Tio. I mean, for the most part, I'm paying for internet. So that's part of it. And so the internet gets used by everybody in my household. So that's a household expense. And I don't really think about that as part of the cost. I invest in a deck or two a month. And then if it's not a deck, it's usually some sort of equipment or something around for the show. But so I don't, I don't think it's very much. And in the beginning, it was hardly anything I bought. I was already a tarot reader, so I already had decks, and I just continued to use those until I kind of got going, and I found out that I liked it. And I started to, instead of using $20 to go out and grab a drink at the bar, which I don't do, I just would say, put that $20 into the show and spend money there. I mean, the show has become self-sustaining over the years. So, and that's what I'm trying to work it towards is, continually paying for itself so I can invest in new tarot decks and things like that. And my community has been pretty generous about it. So, I would say that right now I pay for StreamYard, and that's $25 a month, plus a deck. So I don't know, like $60-$70 a month, maybe at this point. But the one thing I'll tell new content creators is don't compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. Like grab a tarot. I did Rider-Waite forever without ever worrying about other decks.
Absolutely. You don't have to spin this. These are just upgrades as you sort of progress along. And I say that because even content that I made a year ago, or 6 months ago, I'm still using an iPhone 6, which make people laugh. They're like, what are you talking about, an iPhone 6? I literally have an iPhone 6.
You mean you make tarot by dinosaur? Is that what you do?
But the funny part is I do the iPhone 6 videos, right? So I'll do, okay, so for example, my unboxing of the Wizards Tarot, the brand new deck I did with an iPhone 6. And then someone commented that the video was fantastic. And I'm like laughing to myself. I'm like, that's an iPhone 6.
That's great. But that's it. I mean, these phones are, 14, 15 megapixels, or shooting 4K. They have everything you need as long as you can put that phone the way you want it, and you can get the right angle. You can get a lavalier mic for $10 from Amazon and plug that in if you want close audio. In a way, I wouldn't recommend Bluetooth audio. Like, these are cheap Bluetooth headsets as far as audio goes. Terrible. Like, it's terrible.
Yeah, Larry
audio is critical.
Audio is critical. Larry asked for a decent setup. How much total are we looking at? Well, Larry, I would just go with your phone and sunlight. I mean, unless you just want to get fancy. Again, these upgrades are a reinvestment of income. So if you're not making any income, stick with the phone and sunlight and just make it look good. I mean, I'm doing phone and sunlight right now, and I have almost 30K subscribers, so it works.
It absolutely works. And anything else? I think it was like Knight Rider Tarot. Anything else Knight Rider Tarot is just an investment in a hobby. So if you were going to do woodworking, you would buy extra things. If you were going to run, you would buy extra shoes. You'd buy, water bottles, whatever it is you want to do. So, a phone and a light bulb, or not even a phone and sunlight and and you can head out there and start making some video and get it up there and start making a following. It's about you, and it's about your way in the world and your way on your channel. And that's what's going to draw people in.
Right. Your personality and your presentation. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Brianna says maybe a bendy arm. Yeah. $20 bendy arm off Amazon and you're good. I use a bendy arm to this very day. When I'm filming my stuff, I use a bendy arm. When I'm doing a private reading, I use a bendy arm because my what is it? The pole coming out has my, easy for me to say, has my DSLR on it.
Yeah. Right.
So let's talk about so higher end lights. I know that they sell higher end lights, $200, $300, $400. I don't think I'll ever use that because these cheap LEDs with umbrella look great.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever get to that point. I'm happy with, I have little, I forget, 4tan box LED lights from warm to cool light. And that was kind of an upgrade I chose to make because I wanted something smaller. It's not anything I needed to make. My umbrella lights work just great. I'm happy. I was perfectly happy with them. They were just big and I wanted something smaller. And that was a choice that I made.
Yeah, the most popular photo person that does headshots, Peter something. I say the most popular. I can't remember his name, but he does a biography, autobiography. He's talking about that he started and he was making a living doing headshots with natural sunlight because he said there's nothing you can buy that looks as good.
Yeah, there's nothing better, and I would do that except that I live in Florida and it gets hot. So and most of the time I work at night. So
Yep. Okay. So let's talk about cameras. Obviously, microphones. So the built-in microphone that comes into your camera is probably one of the worst sounding ones that you can use.
Worst ever. Yeah.
Yeah. So show your mic again. You showed your mic.
So I use this is a block. So this is a blue Snowball microphone. It's like, you know, 70, 60 bucks, 70 bucks. I bought it back in 2002. Like when I used to run a different podcast that had nothing to do with tarot, and I bought the microphone because I did a lot of video work at my day job, and I was doing a lot of web conferencing, and I just wanted to have better audio. And this is the microphone I bought. It's never failed me. I've always had good luck with it. I had a Yeti, a blue Yeti. I like the blue brand of microphones. I had a blue Yeti, and the micro USB thing shorted out so many times that I just got tired of hearing it crackle in my audio. And so I canned it and just went right back to the blue Snowball. I think it's great. I mean, I might upgrade to a shotgun mic just to get directional, but again, that's like my personal preference and an investment in my hobby. But there's no reason for me to get rid of the blue. I mean, it's so old that they didn't have choices in color. It was white. That's why it's called a Snowball. That's how old this thing is, and it's never ever. Things traveled with me all over the world, and it works. And you can get those things for $20 used. Yeah, you can get them for $20 used. There's a couple different varieties of blue Snowball. Just check to make sure it's doing what you want it to do. There's like a cheaper lower end version and a little bit of a higher end version, and I would recommend that as opposed to the lower end. But you can do whatever your budget holds. Anything's better than a webcam mic. Exactly. Yeah, I'll search for the Blue Yeti in they have Blue Yeti Micro, Blue Yeti Standard, Blue Yeti Snowball. So there's your sort of. They have a Blue Yeti X now that's out there that's like $200. Or, you know, these things go on my wish list, right? Those are the things that I'm like, oh, it would be nice to have a little bit of a luxury mic, but the reality is, there's like a Blue Snowball Ice microphone for $45. And you could go to YouTube and probably find one, or at a garage sale somewhere somebody has one of these. Yeah, the best part about the Blue Yeti Snowball is everybody uses it for the beginning mic. So as people upgrade, people start earning money, they want to get a bit of an upgrade, they put theirs for sale. So they're everywhere on eBay for $20. That's right. That's right. Yeah, so I'll always have a plethora of microphones because I really like the Snowball. Like I said, it does what it needs to do. Yep. So that is the USB mics. And again, USB mics, I think they top out around 200 probably for the highest level one. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And, the thing about USB mics is different microphones are good for different types of voices. So if you have a deep voice, a particular microphone is going to sound better than another microphone. Compared if you have a high pitched voice like me, I sound like an infant or something, but I mean, so the mic that I bought, I actually tried a couple of them, and I found a mic that just calms my high pitched voice a bit down, so it doesn't sound as terrible. Yeah, sure. So the final microphone is a condenser mic with a mixer, and that's going to run you minimum $300, and it doesn't sound any better than the USB, in my opinion. And you get a mixer to complicate your life, so. And, for me, it's about, if you're starting out, it's about making it easy, because if it's difficult for you and you're not technical or you just don't like to fiddle with things, it's got to be simple or it's just not going to work. Yeah. And so some of these condenser mics, they're about $100 to $150. Yeah. And then you're going to end up needing a mixer with that. So what is the mixer? It's a Go XLR mixer, I believe. Yeah, I think so. Go XLR Mini. And so if you want why isn't it even coming up? Am I butchering the name somehow? Like a podcast mixer is what you're, yeah, I'm just looking for something that supports USB out. Anyway, it's a Go XLR, I believe is the name of it. But there's a mixer that comes with that, and it'll plug in and use your condenser microphone. But again, this is super high end. Yeah. And this is you sound like a radio talk show host. I don't, if that's good or not, but yeah, I mean, that's true. It depends on what you're looking for. But again, if you're a small creator and you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of money to invest in this, or you'd rather invest your money in more tarot decks, spend a couple of bucks. I mean, these are things that I acquired. The Blue Snowball is not anything I bought for the tarot channel. It was something that I owned. The webcam isn't anything that I bought for tarot. It's just something that I owned. And so that's, but I think that, it does make a difference, but it's not anything that you really need to, I don't think it's anything you need to worry about. I mean, if I had to worry about anything, I'd worry about a microphone, because webcam mics are terrible, and that'll get picked up quick.
Yeah. So Brianna says, I was going to say on your stream yesterday that you have a radio personality, but that's okay. Yeah. So I'm using a USB mic, and I think this one costs $120. So this is the last microphone I'm going to buy, because I don't really want to go the condenser, the DSLR, or the Go XLR, etc. But this one sounds good. I think the better thing to do is to practice your voice, so you don't sound monotone. You sound interesting. Right. Yeah. You have cool pauses. You have a faster and slower pace. I think once you do that, your voice sounds better, even if it's on a $20 or a $10 mic. That's
right. Yeah. I mean, some of it is, it's definitely the tonality, the tenor of your voice, things like that. I mean, part of it is I was a Toastmaster for a long time. My day job is talking to people. I was a trainer and stand-up trainer and did all these things. And so I work with my voice, and some of the older stuff is like pre-vocal cord surgery for me. So not vocal cord surgery, but I have a paralyzed vocal cord, which is why my voice has this cool little raspy thing for the last several years. But that's painful for me to go back to the very beginning and hear what my voice used to be and what I was used to hearing. It's hard to hear your own voice anyway, but yeah, if you practice it, but it doesn't matter, right? You learn the tonality, you learn to slow down. But Toastmasters is a great way if you're uncertain about your speaking capability. I highly recommend.
Yeah, and you can get, I think you can get a speech almost every meeting if you're pretty good with it. And then you'll get feedback, anonymous feedback, and all that stuff. So, and it's pretty cheap. I mean, it's not expensive at all.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah. So then, and getting closer to the microphone and saying you have 700 videos. We're here with Dr. Mystical.
They're right. You do have a radio personality voice.
I have a face for radio as well. Just as Larry says.
Me too.
So let's talk about software. So StreamYard, it's free and it supports a green screen. It does so much stuff. And if you don't mind the little powered by StreamYard, it's completely free. You can do collabs. I mean, you're the StreamYard expert. I mean, give us your 2 cents on this thing.
Yeah. So StreamYard, I've said this on my own channel. I've said this in my videos. StreamYard has absolutely changed the work that I do for the better. And things have escalated. It's an exponential increase in terms of StreamYard. Sorry, the shaking is my dog, who, I don't know, apparently he wants to be on the show. But StreamYard, these are 2 young tech guys. They started this thing. They wanted to make an easy, professional-looking stream that was stable. The reason that I found it through another channel, super interested in it. It looked easy. I was looking for easy. I hate streaming directly to Facebook because the comments are difficult to manage, and this seemed easier. I gave it a 30-day trial at the free level, so I was going to try it for 30 days. It so happened that it was right around Christmas time that they gave everybody a week of the paid platform called Basic, I think. And I jumped on that thing, and I called my friends, and I'm like, can you come on? I want to check out a show with you. I want to stream to both channels. And people were gracious, and I fell in love with it. And it's an absolute worthy investment in my work and work on the tarot channel. I enjoy it. I use it for private readings. I use it for shooting my tarot flip throughs. I use StreamYard as a platform for everything. And I think what I like most about it, and again, there is a free version that lets you stream to one channel, one platform without having to pay. But you also don't need the high-end video processing gaming computer in order to do this. So that's the StreamYard advantage, is that you can with minimal internet speeds, minimal processing power, as long as you can pretty much do a Skype video chat without buffering out, this thing will amplify your signal and send it out to whichever platform or platforms you select, depending on where you are in their payment cycle. So, or their payment platform. So
yeah. So Brianna asks, you stream straight to YouTube? Yes, you can stream to YouTube and Facebook, right?
Yeah, I stream right to YouTube and Facebook, although they have connections to LinkedIn, which is not a big tarot community. So LinkedIn, Twitch, Restream, and anything that has an RTMP. If you have an RTMP address, it'll stream to anything that you want it to. So in the StreamYard community, a lot of people will stream to Restream and then Restream out to other things. But again, the lag time from what I do is that lag time is the death sentence for a tarot channel.
Yeah, and I don't use I use StreamYard for things like this, for Collab, or, by the way, everyone in chat, if you're doing a personal reading, so if somebody's paying you for a reading, you absolutely have to record it. You absolutely have to record it. And StreamYard is such a great way to do that, because you can have a private video for them to watch. And I say that because there's legal ramifications in any private reading. If somebody asks you a health question and they think that you recommended they take off their meds, or, you know, something happens, you have video you have video that shows the exact conversation that happened. So
God, please don't do that. But yeah, that is true. And then StreamYard also allows you to download the audio recorded version of it as well. So if you need to, so for my Friday night talk show, I download the audio and I upload it into Anchor. And then there's a podcast out there for my Friday night talk show.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. We're going into the money. Tanya has a good question. Tanya, we'll get to your question in just a second. So OBS, everybody really hates OBS, but I use it, but I'm more of an advanced user. That's sort of an end state for me, because I can't tweak the green screen on StreamYard to be like 1-2% tolerance like I can with OBS. And I have my green screen tweaked to where I can put green cards on there and you don't hardly see any flicker at all. So
I mean, you have an impressive OBS. You have some impressive OBS kung fu, I'll tell you what.
Well, thanks. Well, I do computers for a living, so I just sort of dove into it and figured it out. Yeah. But it's going to be quite painful unless you're willing to spend a lot of time.
Yeah, for me, that was hard for me. I mean, I have OBS on this computer. I can see the icon.
So what do you think about techniques? Got some on the screen here. What have you seen, or what have you experienced that's good versus bad, or the best versus, the least best, the worst on the list, or add something, or
the least favorable?
Yeah, there you go.
I got to tell you, I watched picket cards for a long, long time, and I really did not like them. I don't know why I can't, if someone would say, why don't you like pick a card? I could not tell you. It was just something that I didn't like. But I did one because I'm doing a collab with Be Love and Crystals, and I think it's like Wednesday, and I was like, this was so fun to create. Like, what a great, like from a tarot reader, I was like, this is amazing. I love to create my own tarot spreads, and the pick a card was just so much fun to think about. So I've come to love them, and my community responded pretty well to those. I like doing kind of unboxings and flip throughs. I don't talk through my flip throughs. The unboxings will have a talk, like I'll do a flip through where I'm talking through it, but I think that for a new tarot show or a new tarot, if you want to do tarot readings, man, do tarot readings. Like, do that. Like, get on there live and do readings, and live is great on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. You learn to manage comments over time. But I think live, and in terms of if you're looking down the road at monetizing your channel, lives is going to be that's going to be your bread and butter. 20 people watching an hour-long video is 20 hours of people watching your video, and you need to hit a certain threshold for you to monetize. So lives are the way to be.
Yep. So there's a lot of different things. Pick a card. I've never really done. I just think it's, I mean, this is just personal opinion. It's just so generic. When I do a tarot reading, it's very personal.
Yep.
They have a personal question. They have something that they need to know.
Yeah.
They have something that's on their mind. They're worrying about something. And I would rather address that directly rather than just pick a card and hope for the best that it covers all 1,000 people that are going to watch it, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely do. And you know, I mean, it's part of that was, I think, part of what I was frustrated with the pick a cards for. I mean, I had fun creating it, but I do a lot, you know, I do a lot of kind of general readings with the live show because I'm, you know, people don't have, on my show, at least right now, as it stands right now, and I can see 2 of my moderators are in the chat, so they're probably like, oh God, he's going to make another change. But yeah, I mean, I like pick a card from a creative standpoint. Like I like to create tarot spreads and I like to do that stuff. So putting my thought and creative energy into that is a lot of fun for me, and people happen to like it, and it generates a different kind of community. But people come to the channel for different things. People come for the live readings. People come for the flip throughs. People come for the pick a cards. They don't necessarily overlap. They might, but they don't necessarily.
Yeah, by far, like you're talking about, the live streams are, because I was doing live streams before, but not on a regular basis. But now that I'm doing on a regular basis,
like every day,
the live streams are so convenient. You don't need to prepare. I don't need to make a PowerPoint. I could just go live, and then you'll
grab your deck and go.
Yeah, and you have like 700 people that'll watch it over the next month or two. So
yeah, very much so. And the people get from my Tarot Tuesday show, they get, the people, even if they don't quite make the reading or they hear a message that resonates with them, they take that with them. And that's the whole point of the show, is to have some fun and enjoy ourselves and get to know people. And I've gotten to know some amazing people that go through a lot in their lives over the last 4 years. I mean, my two mods in here have been here since like video 1, just to tell you how they're again, I don't know why anybody stuck around, but they sure did. So
hey, if your content's good, and your content is good. I mean,
oh, thanks. That's nice of you to say.
So deck intensive deep dives, I absolutely love those, but those do get to be lengthy, and I'm not really sure. I'm not an audience for that. I'm more of a creator for that. So I'm kind of interested. Do people watch that from front to back? I mean, the deck intensive, to where they'll go and say, all right, the 7 of Swords, I think this symbol means this, et cetera, et cetera.
I don't know. I don't have an attention span like that necessarily, although it's in my, so, part of being a content creator is having a content schedule. So I don't know that I would go into a full, like 2-hour long deck intensive where, I mean, I do that in my private, like sit there with the deck and get to know it. But I'm really more about thinking about what cards mean in general. So, what does the 6 of Swords mean? What are the things that it represents? What sorts of places would this apply? I mean, I'm more thinking, or at least where I'm thinking right now is working. Some of my content schedule includes like, this is the card we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the 6 of Swords and what it means and what are some of the things you think about. And it's not going to be an hour, right? It's just going to be about my thoughts about that particular card and what it means and how I've evolved my thinking. I think it's interesting for people to know how tarot readers grow and continue to grow as readers, because seeing what I did in the beginning to what I do now, I can see the growth.
Yeah, and you bring up an interesting point. A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, a few people that I've seen will get 4 or 5 different decks and lay out, let's say, the 7 of Swords, and I have a 7 of Swords video. And they'll go, all right, this one covers this particular aspect. This one covers that. I like this. I don't like that. So that's a little bit shorter of a video. It's not going to be a 5-hour intensive.
And everybody's saying the same thing. Deep dives make the people crazy. So, and that's not YouTube. Like if you're talking about a YouTube channel, like I just said this to somebody. I'm like, I got to get my pick of cards. If I'm going to keep doing this, I got to get that dialed down, because it's like 30, 40 minutes and that's a drag. Like that's not how people watch videos on YouTube.
Yep. And the free readings, that's how I sort of started out. I mean, I started out on YouTube. I was on a forum. I believe it was the Eclectic Tarot forum. And we were doing reading exchanges. And then they wanted me to post a picture of the of the thing. But then I'm thinking, you know, I'd rather just post a video so you can actually see what I'm talking about when I point to a card and things like that.
Yeah.
So then I started just posting a video. I posted a video for one person. I posted a video for another person. And then it sort of exploded because within like a month, I had, you know, 4 or 5 questions a day from viewers that were like, hey, you do free readings? So I think free readings is a great way. If you want traffic, just offering free readings is a way to just get people on board.
That's right. But if you're going to do that, I think if you're going to do free readings, you might as well just go live and do that.
Exactly. They didn't have live back then, but yeah.
Right. Exactly. I think if you're going to start now and you want to do free readings, and I think you should. I think, you know, I have a friend who I definitely adore and have forever, and she's wonderful, and she's a wonderful medium and just wonderful. And she has kind of a love-hate relationship with my Tarot Tuesday show. And because she's like, it's just like, you just give and give and give and give and give, but I love doing it. And that's what I tell her. I'm like, I just love doing it. I'm giving back to something that's given me a lot. I think that people enjoy it. They enjoy the art of it and the messaging of it. They come for motivation or inspiration or to cool their jets for a little while, whatever it might be.
And plus, if you're on target, sorry to interrupt you, if you're on target as well, people will hire you for paid readings.
That's exactly right. And so the back end of being a live reader is that there is channel support for you to do all sorts of things. So like you offer your private readings for $30 for 20 minutes, and that's fantastic. So people can get private readings with me. I have a $5 Friday club where people can get an emailed reading for me every Friday. It's like 3 to 5 cards. I mean, there's a lot of things that they can get into that's personal for them. And, you know, I have good friends. I have 2 good friends. They're great mediums. They do wonderful shows, and they call it a greeting, not a reading. So on my channel, right, Tarot Tuesday, you're getting a greeting, not a reading necessarily. You know, 2 to 3 minute greeting from spirit. This is what's going on. This is what to think about.
Yep. So, so like people were pointing out in chat, some people like pick a card, some people like monthly forecast, some people like, I think everybody likes deck reviews.
Yeah. I watch a million deck reviews. I gotta be honest. Like, I don't even know why. I watch a million deck reviews. I want to know that deck inside out and backwards before I buy it for the most part, except for a couple of them where I see them right away and I'm going to jump right in.
Exactly. And some people have different takes on deck reviews as well. So Papa Squirrel will show the whole deck very fast. So if you want to see the deck and you're curious, do I like it or not? You're going to get a feeling within the first couple of minutes. And then other people will hold it up to the camera and go through each card and show their favorite cards. And so everybody has their own spin on a deck review. That's
right. Yeah, I think that tells you a lot about the reader. I think if you're getting to know a channel or getting to know a reader, deck reviews are a good place to begin because you're going to get a sense of what they think about and how they think and whether that resonates with you.
Yeah. So let's move on to money. I know a couple of people had questions about money. One of the first things that I want to sort of talk about that's not listed here is private readings. Well, that's listed here, but I'm talking about private readings that are a result of live streams. I would say 70% plus of my private readings are people that watch the live stream. I did a free reading and then they're like, wow, that is dead on to what I was, wanting to know. I need more information. I'd like, some time with you. I mean, how do you see private readings as far as that's concerned?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I mean, for me, so, the kind of going back to the beginning of Tarot Tuesday, I worked a lot of psychic fairs. I worked a lot of events. And what I noticed was that like the people who've been around for 20 or 30 years had a following and they were booked all the time. And I wasn't jealous of that. I thought I was impressed by that. And I was like, how do I reach that place without putting 30 years of sitting behind a table talking to myself? And so that's how Tarot Tuesday started. When I left, so I moved to where I am now, and most of my community continues to be from there. But Tarot Tuesday, my live show and my reading, that's where it generates my private readings. And I think that's great. Right now I'm is one of my little mysticals is what I call them. They're like, you're Mr. Worldwide. I'm like, well, that's not me because, clearly, but right. I can be anywhere in the world I need to be because of the power of the internet.
Yeah. And so let's talk about making money, obviously, off YouTube. So at, I believe 1,000 subs,
Mm-hmm.
And what is it? It's like 4,000 views or something. No, it's more than
Yeah,
that.
it's 1,000. So to be in the YouTube partner program, you need 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours in 365 days.
There you go.
So that's that's been my goal, right? That's the goal I set for 2020, and it's been good. It's been an interesting run. But that's, if you want to get into YouTube, making money directly through YouTube, that's what you have. That's the threshold, but it is not the only way to do it.
Absolutely. And once you're partnered, I believe it varies based upon people click through, people watch an ad versus not an ad, but it's about $1 per 1,000 views. I mean, that's very generic, but that sort of rings true as far as your views. So if you have 1,000 views on something, that's about $1 earning. And it is a month delayed. So if you earn money last month, it's going to be a delay getting it, about a month to get it. So merchandise, I know Papa Squirrel has merchandise. I have none. I don't really know what I would put on merchandise other than I create tarot decks. I mean, does that qualify as merchandise, I guess?
So I think that's merch. Yeah. I mean, every once in a while I'll put something up. Every once in a while I'll put a t-shirt on, like Amazon. Amazon has like a merch type of setup. And so I do that. I have my own, there's my steampunk divination dice, which are up on the Game Crafter. So that's a place that I make a little bit of money. I'm working on my own tarot deck, but merch isn't necessarily where I make my money.
Yeah, and YouTube has a bunch of ways to make money. One is they have merchandise. Another is the master of the obvious, which you see all the time, the super chat.
Right.
So, but if you're in chat, super chat, be aware that YouTube takes 30% of that away. So if you earn $1 from super chat, you're only going to get 70 cents of that. So
that's right. Yeah, it's a big chunk. I mean, part of that is the price of doing business, though, right? I mean, it's convenient for people, and that's the price of doing business, but that's not necessarily, there's better ways to do that, but that's the cost of doing business.
Yep. And also there's a new feature in YouTube called membership, and this is their attempt to take on Patreon.
Yeah.
So
thank God for that. Yeah.
So membership is sort of a Patreon within YouTube. In other words, when you join Patreon, you join someone's Patreon, you'll have different levels of support. So you have a $5 level, or, whatever you specify. And that's going to allow people to have exclusive videos, exclusive content, and things like that. So that's their take on, let's try to take on Patreon type thing. What do you think about that?
So I really like that. So I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Patreon. I do have a Patreon. On my Patreon is $1. So it's $1 a month. What I was worried about with Patreon is what I continue to be worried about is I'm going to get trapped in the rewards making business, and then I'm not going to be creating content. So I set it up to be $1. So if you like the work that we're doing and you want to support it in a small way, this is the way that you can do that. It's $1 a month, and that's great. And then you get a greeting from me and a shout out on Instagram and things like that. But that's where I kind of get it. I love that YouTube and I wish Facebook would do the same. I love that they want to take on Patreon. I think that I'd love to kind of narrow down and not have so many platforms that makes it difficult for me to manage. So I'm all for that, but those are limited release type things. So my channel isn't quite at the membership level yet, but that's okay. We'll get there.
Yep. So it just takes some time. And then obviously there's PayPal, there's Square Up. There's like you and I, we do the fairs. So I believe we both have the Square account, right? So you can get the credit card at the fair.
That's right. And YouTube makes it possible to put that in your channel, so you can link to donations. So on my website, you can link to a donation and get that done. You can kind of click there, and then through my website, you can join, join $5 Friday Club. So I'm kind of moving my membership into my website platform because it's my community, and it's not Patreon's community, and it's not YouTube's community. It's my community, and I'm part of that community. And I want to be able to give them what they need directly without having a middle person to go through.
Yep. Okay. So let's see. So Powers of Tarot has the great question. Good segue, Powers of Tarot. Started mature last month, and it's hard to grow. Any tips? So let's talk about the next slide, which is going to be advertisement.
Right. Well, the first thing is you have to have a great profile picture, and I think he does.
Wait, let's pull it back up. Let's pull it back up.
Right. First tip, great profile picture. You nailed it.
There you go. Powers of Tarot.
That's right.
There you go. So advertisements, obviously we'll talk about Facebook. So how long did it take you to get your Facebook following up?
Till August of 2019. So, so Facebook was hanging out at about 800. So the one thing I don't do on Facebook, if I do buy advertising, it is because I'm working an event and I'm actually buying advertising for that event. So I'll trade. I don't trade, but sometimes I trade. But I'll trade an event manager, $30 in advertisement, and I'll advertise the event to boost things and bolster things up, and that does get me a little bit of traffic. But mine is organic growth. I'm sitting at about 1,050 followers. I was super thrilled to surpass 1,000. That happened pretty recently. But it was always hanging around like the 850, 900 mark for a year or so. And that's great. But man, likes aren't followers.
Yeah.
And so if the people that I love that are there every week, and I love them all, whether they're there every week or not, Facebook groups is huge. And the work that I do in that group, or the work that my mods and I do in that group, I should say, and the community does in that group, those are your loyals. Those are the folks that will continue to support the work you do. They give you the advice, the guidance you need to bring them what they want. So if you're going to do a page, link a group and focus your energy on groups.
Absolutely. And collaborations are a huge source, because once you get a collaboration, now all of my audience now knows about Dr. Mystical Tarot.
And I'm eternally grateful for that. And that's a YouTube specific thing that doesn't necessarily happen on Facebook.
Right. And
so
there's also
part of the Facebook community thing.
Right. There's also other platforms that you can leap into to get collaborations as well. Like Twitch has a tarot community. It's a small one, but yeah.
Twitch is, I don't know. I have trepidation around Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch. I love Twitch for video games, but the tarot, I don't see very much money coming in. I don't see the things that I see on YouTube, going over to Twitch.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think YouTube continues to evolve and continues to corner the market, and I think that's good for them. All hail Google.
Yep. And then you have your standard Reddit, trading readings on Reddit or advertising yourself on Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, everything, Gram,
all the grams,
all the Gram crackers, and anything that's Gram. Yeah.
All good stuff.
But if you want to grow your YouTube channel quick, I think free live readings really brings in a lot of people.
That's right. That's right. I mean, you're trading if you're worried about cost, if you're worried about making money, this probably isn't the way to do that. You can get a job driving for Grubhub or DoorDash and you'd probably be killing it. But if you want to do tarot, right, I agree. The live readings, the free readings are a good way to do that. Get people to understand the work that you do, and the rest will come. The rest will come.
Yep. Okay. The final slide is mistakes. What do you see as the mistakes that you see when you're wandering around YouTube and people have a channel that you see that are just glaring mistakes that you would like to avoid?
Well, I don't see any of those. I don't want to call our spiritual colleagues on the mat, but in the interest of improving things, the one thing that be really careful about camera angles. So the big thing is camera angles. If you're using your phone and it's angled down, let's go back to my first video and you'll see that it's shooting up at me. You'll see like 10 videos later, I put it up on a box. And so I'm shooting directly at, look, oh my gosh, I lost it. So that's the big, get a decent camera, angle it at your face, Remember to look at it, which I'm bad at. But remember to look at it. Have good audio. If you're shooting with a camera that's 10 feet away from you and sounds like you're in a toilet bowl, that's a pretty good analogy for where you're headed.
Yep. And you can ask friends too. I mean, you make friends on YouTube, you make friends within the community, you make friends outside of that. You're doing live, or, you're doing readings elsewhere for people. Yep. So you can sort of ask them, hey, watch this. What do you think about it? And they're going to give you some feedback, especially somebody that doesn't know anything about tarot. They're going to watch, they're going to say, I can barely hear you, man, or whatever.
That's right. So, and then you have too little content. That's true. But whatever you're going to do with content, be consistent with it. Don't be all over the board. That's a big mistake. Is the way that you learn and study the YouTube way, the YouTube algorithms. There's Sean Cannell wrote a book called YouTube Secrets, and he's got a great channel to learn about YouTube. And he goes through some crazy gear reviews, but that guy is at a different level, man. I'm telling you. I mean, when he's like, "Here's your budget camera for $800," that's not a budget level I'm at, but that's okay. But the way that he thinks about YouTube, that helped me considerably to understand the algorithm, how it works, knowing when you should release content, learning the way that the analytics work, helps you. If you want to grow your YouTube channel, those are the things that you have to know in order for it to work. But the key to it all, be consistent. Yep. So Knight Rider and Powers of Tarot are going to talking about, I want to do live readings. How to know people will come. The YouTube algorithm, the YouTube algorithm will send them your way. Yeah. But advertise it. Let people know. Yeah. I share that fear. My first several videos. Again, I don't know how people like my mods stuck around for all this time, but I worried about the same. Have something else to say, so you can advertise. It could get light. It could get pretty light for readings, and that's okay. Read until you're done, and then knock off and come back and do it again, and advertise it. Put it up on Facebook. Tell your friends. Tell your grandma. Tell everybody. Tell all your reader friends. Yeah, and if you're having a light day, you can also go to other people's live streams and just get a question and say, okay, somebody from another live stream asked this question, and you can just do a reading. Even if the person's not there, even if they're not there, now you have a question that you can you can read for. So you can write down a few of those, have 20 or 30 questions that sounded interesting to you. And then when there's nobody on your channel, there's nobody watching, you're still doing stuff. So people are like, hey, what's going on? This person's reading. Pretty much. I mean, that's right. I mean, reach out, make a friend, do a collaboration. I'm just tickled that you reached out and said, let's collab. And, so reach out and do that and get to know people and just keep doing it. Just over and so maybe it's a 10-minute show. Maybe it's an hour-long show. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just as long as you're there, and then you save it to a video and people can watch it later. And tarot reading is all about people resonating with you and your style, your personal style. And I think one of so let's do a wrap up here. Let me give my 2 cents, I guess, on sort of a final recommendation of what I would recommend, and then we'll throw it to you and finish up. Yeah. So my biggest recommendation, if you're starting a YouTube channel, is to just do it and do it regular, like the doctor's talking about. Make regular content so people know when you tune in. So I'm here every night, and people know I'm here every night. They come. If I'm not here, people would get upset. I get worried. Is he dead? I'm concerned about him. But no, I mean, you get a regular content like Papa Squirrel. He'll upload once every few days, and I know he's going to upload if it's, and he'll post his schedule. He'll be like, hey, I'm being here Wednesday and Friday. And at the end of my stream, I say I'm here every night, and I give you my schedule. So people know your schedule. They're going to tune in. And then the more you're online, obviously, the better it is. But people have time constraints. So, but the biggest thing is to be there and start. And my next biggest tip is to show your personality. Don't try to be TarotOracle. Don't try to be Dr. Mystical. Right. Be yourself and show your personality. And the more people will resonate with your personality, like we have Divine Empowerment here, who has a great channel.
and she's on a boat, and she'll have like the bay, you know, you'll see water and boats out there. It's like completely unique, and it's like exciting to watch her stuff. Yeah. And she has a dynamic, great personality. And a lot of these other people have this amazing personalities. And so people will resonate with those, and they'll watch you just because they like you and they like your content. So
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that's great.
So, and you don't need expensive stuff. Start with your phone, start with some sunlight, and you're good. And just, and the most important thing is have fun, right? Don't, it's not a job, have fun. So,
yeah, I mean, there are times where this became not fun for me, and that's, that's me ignoring spirit, and when it was not fun, it was not fun, and it was hard to get going, and it was hard to get in there, and I would look, I was anxious about it and worried about it, and it became not fun. And my community will tell you, I took about a month off, and it was because I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't do the way I was doing it, and it was because of the community that I came back, because they expressed concern and worry, but they also helped me reform the work that I'm doing, and it became more sustainable. And anytime I have an idea, for the most part, I ask them, because if I do too much too fast, they get a little bit persnickety, and that's fine. They're my community. That's what they're there for. That's the whole game, is people will resonate with you, your community, and what you're doing. And I think that's an important thing. And there was another thing in that slide that I thought was perfect, because it said, don't worry about being perfect. Just be who you are. Just do your thing.
So and just to wrap up,
a card a year ago is different how you read a card today. So be it, man. That's how it goes. That's the job.
Yep. So as a wrap up, I'm a new tarot person on YouTube. What advice does Dr. Mystical have for me?
So, new tarot person, make video content and get it going. Like, don't wait on it. Get your camera. If you need to take a lampshade off a light bulb to give yourself better, just absolutely wreck your house. If you feel like you need to do a studio setup, I've taken lampshades off. I've done all kinds of things. Try to figure it out. Play around privately, but then you got to get out there and you got to start reading. And I have the same anxiety when I grab a brand new deck, like I just did Light Seers for the first time live, and I get worried. Am I gonna, and I always tag creators, so I get worried that the creator is going to be on it, but that's garbage. He's a jerk. Don't listen to him. But fortunately, nobody does that in tarot that I know of. Maybe they do it at home. But get out there and make content. Just kind of attack your fear. Put it down. That's kind of spirit. That's not spirit. That's the doubt telling you. And just get out there and make content. Mm-hmm. Be consistent. Be cool about it. And don't worry about where you are. Don't compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. Just go. You are perfect just the way you are in the moment that you're doing it.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good quote. Don't compare yourself to other people. Always compare yourself to yourself. So that's right. If you look back, like you're talking about, you look back at your first video, you're like, oh my God. So you're comparing yourself to yourself, and you've come such a long way. I mean, your video is so nice. Your lighting is beautiful, and your content is great. I mean, you have this passion when you're talking to the camera that just comes across over the video. It's just really nice.
Thank you. Well, it's the people. I like I say it every week. I do Tarot Tuesday because of the people that are there, the community that comes around it. They're live and they're vibrant. And my goodness, when I do Manara Tarot, it gets off. It's crazy.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me. We have to do this again. We would talk about green screens, or we can talk about anything, We can
talk about it. Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's just, the ways to get it done. Tio, I'm so thankful for you. Thank you so much for reaching out and offering this collaboration. It just means the world to me to be part of the YouTube community. I've been doing a long time on Facebook, but YouTube is I moved in next door, and you've been so nice to have me over for a cup of coffee and talk about tarot. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem at all. We got to get together again and do more of these. So thank you so much for joining me today. And everybody watching, the PDF for this will be in the description. Let me upload it and get a link to it and then put it there. And thanks everyone for watching us. We had quite a bit of people. I think we had almost 70 people watching at one point.
That's great. Well, that tells you that this community is about to have another big growth expansion. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you. But thank you, everybody.